The NHL season is getting closer and closer every single day, and now I'm going to start to do some prediction videos heading into next season, starting off with my NHL Awards predictions for the 2019-20 season. Now, spoiler alert, this is only the player awards. I won't be predicting who wins their conference or the Stanley Cup champion. I'm going to save that for a later video when I attempt to predict the entire standings for next season. That should be a pretty difficult video, but in this one, I'm only going to predict the more popular awards: the Hart Trophy, the Art Ross, the Calder, the Vesna, the Norris, the Selke, the Rocket, and the Ted Lindsay. My apologies if you're a fan of, all the other awards, but I feel like these are the ones that people care about most. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into this video. Starting the video off with the Selke Trophy, and my prediction is Alexander Barkov of the Florida Panthers, one of, if not the best two-way forwards in the entire NHL, a 24-year-old centerman, and he had a breakout season this past year in terms of point totals, played in all 82 games and had 35 goals and 61 assists for 96 points. And when you're a 96-point scorer and you're that good defensively as well, he definitely could have his name in Hart Trophy contention heading into next season as well, especially now that I think Florida is going to be a better team, and they definitely should be a playoff team, and I just think Barkov is going to have a monster year because there isn't as much pressure on him now to basically do everything for this Florida team. They're really deep up front, they have a decent defense core, I think it can definitely hold its own, and then in goal you have arguably the best goaltender in the entire NHL, who has already won 2 Vesna trophies in his career in Sergei Bobrovsky. This is definitely a team I am super excited to watch heading into next season, and I think Alexander Barkov is finally going to win his first Selke Trophy. For the Calder Trophy, my prediction is Kakko, the second overall pick in this previous NHL draft, and everything that I've seen from him just screams superstar, and I honestly think he is going to come in and have a massive impact on this New York Rangers team right away. He's an 18-year-old winger, like I said, the second overall pick in this previous NHL draft. Last year in the Liga, in 45 games played, had 22 goals and 16 assists for 38 points, and he has also looked super impressive in the Prospects tournament that the New York Rangers were involved in. I'm sure everybody saw the video that was all over social media of his overtime goal, where he was basically just skating circles around the other team in the offensive zone in overtime, and then eventually finished off with a wraparound. He also had a nasty assist in that game, and I'm just super excited to see if he's going to come in and live up to the hype, because there is going to be a lot of cameras on him. I mean, he's playing at MSG, he's a rookie who has a lot of hype, but I definitely think he's going to do just fine. If I had to predict some numbers that he could put up, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a 30 goal scorer and maybe even cracks 70 points. I think he's that good, and if he puts up those type of numbers, I definitely think he should be a favorite to win the Calder. Moving along now, we have the Vesna Trophy, and my prediction is Sergei Bobrovsky. He already has 2 under his belt, the 2012-2013 season and the 2016-2017 season, and like I said earlier in the video when talking about Florida, he is arguably the best goaltender in the NHL if you're just looking at pure numbers, accolades, awards, success, all that type of stuff. And he's 30 years old, just signed that massive contract with the Florida Panthers, and to me, he was really the missing piece of this team. I would be very shocked if Florida doesn't make the playoffs in this up-and-coming season. Maybe there will be some growing pains to start the year because people got to get used to each other, because there definitely is a lot of new faces in Florida, but again, I still think they're going to be very good and definitely have a monster season. And last year, Bobrovsky had a 37-24-1 record, a 2.58 goals against, and a 913 save percentage. He played a lot of games last year, 62 for him, and I honestly think he'll probably be in like the mid to upper 60s again next season with the Florida Panthers. And if he puts up good numbers and they are a successful team, I definitely think that makes him one of the favorites to win the Vesna, and heading into the season, he's my favorite to win. Moving along now to the next award we have to talk about, and that is the Norris Trophy, and my pick is Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Seth Jones. Last year's winner was Mark Giordano, and this up-and-coming season, I think it's going to be a younger guy in Seth Jones. He's a 24-year-old defenseman, has already logged 468 career games played. Last year had 46 points in 75 games, definitely down a little bit from the point total he had in the 2017-18 season, where he actually got a good amount of Norris Trophy votes, but still it was a very good year for him. And Seth Jones isn't just a guy who can give you offensive numbers and score goals as a defenseman. He is a guy who you can definitely rely upon to play against the other team's top line and be relied upon to shut down their number one guy, and that is really what I look for in a defenseman. I want them to be able to jump up in the rush, quarterback a power play, put some points on the board, but more importantly, importantly, be a solid defenseman, and that is why I kind of get mad when people think Brent Burns is the best defenseman in the NHL. He is definitely like up there, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't say he's the best because he's, you know, more of an offensive juggernaut than like a two-way defenseman whatsoever. And obviously Brent Burns is always going to get some contention for the Norris Trophy if he's putting up, you know, 75 to 80 points on a consistent basis. But if I had to guess, my pick for the Norris next year is Seth Jones. I think he's going to have a monster year now that he is really the best player on this Columbus team. Moving along now, we have the Ted Lindsay, and my pick is Connor McDavid. The Ted Lindsay is awarded to the player voted the MVP of the NHL by the players. So the players vote on it. It's not the Hart Trophy, that is the MVP, you know, voted by everybody else, but the Ted Lindsay is the MVP voted by players, and that's definitely a nice award to get. You know, being recognized by your peers and players that you play against of being the MVP of the league is definitely a really good accomplishment. Connor McDavid has already won one, and I honestly think heading into every season he probably should be the favorite, because even if he doesn't make the playoffs, he's probably going to put up ridiculous numbers like last season. 116 points, didn't make the playoffs, and if he has another year like that, I definitely think he will win the Ted Lindsay, because usually when you're talking about the Hart Trophy, the player that wins the Hart Trophy usually has to be on a playoff team, if that makes any sense. Obviously Connor McDavid, you know, being arguably the best player in the NHL, is going to get recognition for that whether he's in the playoffs or not, but I can't really see him winning one unless he is in the playoffs. The only year he did win a Hart Trophy, that was the year where Edmonton actually did make it into the playoffs. He also won the Art Ross, Ted Lindsay. McDavid is just amazing, and I think he's going to have a monster year, similar to the season that Nikita Kucherov just had, where he puts up like 120 plus points, and if he does that, I definitely think he'll win the Ted Lindsay. Spoiler alert, he's not my pick to win the Hart Trophy because I can't really see Edmonton making the playoffs, but you never know, anything can happen in the NHL. Moving on now to the Art Ross, awarded to the player who leads the league in total points, and my pick is once again Connor McDavid. As long as he's healthy, he is always going to be in contention for the Ted Lindsay, the Hart, the Art Ross, all those awards, because he's just so dominant offensively and just brings so much to the game for the Edmonton Oilers. I think 100% he'll be over 100 points next season. Like I said earlier, I could see him having like a Nikita Kucherov year where he puts up 120 plus points, especially if he plays on a line with Leon Draisaitl, and McDavid said he would like to play with Draisaitl again next season because those two definitely have some amazing chemistry and are one of the best duos in the entire NHL. So my pick for the player to lead the league in points next year is Connor McDavid, who in my opinion is the best player on the planet. Next up, we have the Rocket Richard, awarded to the player who leads the league in goals, and my pick is Connor McDavid's partner in crime, Leon Draisaitl. He finished just one goal behind Alex Ovechkin last year, who had 51 goals and won the Rocket, and Leon Draisaitl had 50. Also had 55 assists for 105 points. It was an amazing season for Leon Draisaitl, and I kind of touched on this earlier when talking about Connor McDavid. When these two guys are together, they are both going to put up 100 plus points in my opinion if they do stay healthy. And Leon Draisaitl, I honestly think he can still go up from here. I don't think it's just going to be a decline like some other people. I think he could be like a 55, maybe even a 60 goal scorer, because McDavid is that good of a playmaker and draws that much attention. And Leon Draisaitl, if he scores at this rate next season, even just 50 plus goals, I definitely think he should be one of the favorites to win the Rocket Richard. Obviously, Alex Ovechkin is always going to have his name in there until the day that he steps off the ice and never comes back, but I think Ovechkin is probably going to be maybe in the 45 to 50 range next year. You never know though, he continues to prove me wrong every season. I wouldn't be surprised if Ovechkin just blows it out of the water and, you know, scores 60 goals and wins the Rocket Richard again. But my pick heading into next season is Leon Draisaitl. I think him and McDavid are in for a massive year. And now finishing out the video with the Hart Trophy, and my pick is Nathan MacKinnon, a 24-year-old centerman, 99 points this past season. I wish he broke 100, but I definitely think 100% if he's healthy next year, he will break that century mark and be one of the most dominant offensive players in the entire NHL, especially considering he plays on such an amazing line with Rantanen and Gabe Landeskog. And Colorado, in my opinion, are going to be one of the better teams in the NHL, and usually the best players on some of the best teams in the NHL always get some recognition for the Hart Trophy, but I think Nathan MacKinnon definitely should be a favorite heading into next season just because his ability to score. I think I'm not the only one in predicting that he's going to score 100 plus points and that Colorado is going to be a very good team. Maybe there is some bias here because I love Nathan MacKinnon. He came up through the Halifax Mooseheads organization and is one of my favorite players in the league, but he is definitely my pick to win the Hart Trophy next year. I think he's really going to solidify himself as one of the best players in the NHL next season. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment section who are some of your predictions on all the NHL awards heading into next year. I know I didn't have any Tampa guys in here, but I feel like I might regret that because I feel like they're going to be pissed off and just want to have a dominant season after the embarrassing way they went out. But I'm just going to stick to my guns, and yeah, these are my predictions. And also, make sure to go subscribe to my gaming channel. I posted an NHL 20 video yesterday if that is something you guys are interested in. Links down below in the description to that. And also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and you can become a patron if you'd like. But thank you guys so much for the support on the channel lately. I really hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.